In the summer of 2001, a film called The Fast and the Furious introduced a generation to car culture: street racing, modified imports, American muscle. A 1970 Dodge Charger with a blower bursting through the bonnet, driven by a man named Dominic Toretto, who treated cars not as machines but as family. That film changed what young people thought about cars. It spawned one of the highest-grossing franchises in cinema history, and it made Vin Diesel synonymous with automotive culture in a way that no actor had achieved before or since. Here is what almost nobody knows. The most famous car from those films, the black 1970 Dodge Charger that became the symbol of the entire franchise, was never in his personal garage. It now lives in a museum in Illinois. The real story of Vin Diesel's collection is more interesting than the legend, because the cars he actually owns reveal something the films never quite showed you: that the love was always real, the man behind the character. Mark Sinclair, the world knows him as Vin Diesel, did not become a car enthusiast because of Fast and Furious. Fast and Furious became what it is partly because of his enthusiasm. As a producer on most of the franchise's installments, he has had direct influence over the vehicles that appear on screen. The choice to make Dominic Toretto a Mopar man, a devotee of American-built Dodge and Plymouth muscle cars, was not a random casting decision. It reflected the genuine taste of the man playing him. His personal collection is not vast. It does not contain hypercars or rare European exotics. What it contains is a focused, authentic assembly of American muscle, the cars he was drawn to before the cameras arrived and has remained drawn to since. Understanding that distinction is the key to understanding who Vin Diesel actually is. The 1970 Dodge Charger RT, the car he never owned. Let's address the most famous car first, and the most important correction in any video about Vin Diesel's garage. The black 1970 Dodge Charger RT that Dom Toretto drives throughout the Fast and Furious franchise is the most iconic movie car of the 21st century. It has appeared in more installments than almost any other vehicle in film history. It is the car an entire generation associates with Vin Diesel's face. He has never personally owned one. The original hero car from the first film is currently on display at the Volo Auto Museum in Volo, Illinois, alongside the Munsters Dragula and several Batmobiles. A stunt version was auctioned through Mecum. The hero car from Fast and Furious and Fast 5 went to Barrett-Jackson. They are museum pieces and collector's items in other people's hands. Vin Diesel brought the Charger to the franchise through his genuine love of Mopar culture. But the actual cars were production vehicles that never came home with him. That gap between the legend and the reality is the most honest thing about his collection, and the detail that almost no other video bothers to mention. The 1966 Pontiac Bonneville, where the real collection begins. The car that most clearly proves Vin Diesel's automotive enthusiasm is genuine is one of the least glamorous in his garage. A 1966 Pontiac Bonneville, a full-size American cruiser, fourth generation, with the Coke bottle profile that made it one of the defining silhouettes of the muscle car era. He owns one, has for years. It is not a car that signals wealth or status in any obvious way. It is the car of someone who grew up loving American iron and never saw a reason to pretend otherwise. Dom Toretto drives a Bonneville in Los Bandoleros, the short film prequel to Fast and Furious, and that was not a coincidence. The character's taste and the actor's taste had, by that point, become the same thing. The Bonneville is the foundation of the collection. The car that tells you the rest of it is honest. The 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona, when the screen car came home. The 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona is one of the most extreme production cars ever built by an American manufacturer. Its radical aerodynamic nose cone and towering rear wing were not styling exercises. They were designed specifically to win at Daytona and Talladega, and they worked. The car changed the history of NASCAR. Vin Diesel drove one in Fast and Furious 6 as Dominic Toretto. According to multiple reports, he also owns one in real life. The specific details of his example are not fully documented, and where verification is incomplete, caution is appropriate. But the trajectory is clear. A car driven on screen by a character who shares his taste found its way into his actual driveway. That crossover, where the character's garage and the actor's garage begin to overlap, is one of the most unusual phenomena in automotive culture. No other actor has lived inside a role long enough for the fictional character's car choices to influence their real ones. The 1973 Chevrolet Camaro F-Bomb, the car he brought to the set. The Chevrolet Camaro F-Bomb appeared in Fast and Furious, the 2009 installment, as one of the most memorable cars in a film full of memorable cars. Its name came from the F-body platform it was built on. It was used to eliminate the film's villain in a scene that Fast and Furious fans remember precisely. Multiple sources have described this car as Vin Diesel's personal vehicle, brought to the production rather than sourced by the studio. If accurate, and the sourcing is consistent enough to be worth noting. It represents the clearest example of the man's real collection crossing the line into his professional work. Not a studio car painted to look like something. His own car, driven on camera, in one of the highest profile moments of the franchise. The boundary between Vin Diesel and Dominic Toretto, already thin, became thinner still. The 1970 Dodge Charger Tantrum, the birthday that changed everything. In July 2019, on the set of Fast and Furious 9 in the United Kingdom, Vin Diesel was celebrating his 52nd birthday with the cast and crew when director Justin Lin interrupted to deliver a short speech. Then a sound came from outside the building. Not a car sound exactly, something bigger. The SpeedKore 1970 Dodge Charger Tantrum rolled in with 1,650 horsepower from a twin-turbocharged Mercury Marine V8, originally designed for competition speedboats. Carbon fiber body, machined aluminum grille. Custom chassis built from the ground up to handle the kind of power that most vehicles would simply not survive. Built in 2015, featured in The Fate of the Furious and Fast and Furious 9 as a screen car, and then, on his birthday, on the set of the film, given to him by his Fast and Furious family as a personal gift. The entire build cost over $600,000. Diesel's response was not about the car. He looked up and spoke to someone who was not there. "You see this, Pablo? We hope to make you proud, Pablo." Pablo was his name for Paul Walker, his co-star, his friend, the man whose death during the production of Furious 7 had changed the franchise and changed Vin Diesel in ways that no car could capture and no film could fully express. The tantrum was extraordinary, but what the moment revealed was not about horsepower. It was about grief and gratitude, and the idea of a family that had formed around a film franchise and outlasted the losses it suffered. The Tantrum is in his collection. It has 530 miles on the odometer. Some things you do not just drive. The Mercedes-Benz Ghost Sprinter van, the car that came from family. The final vehicle in Vin Diesel's confirmed personal collection is the one that tells you most about who he is away from the franchise. A Mercedes-Benz Ghost Sprinter van. Custom designed by Tyrese Gibson, Diesel's Fast and Furious co-star, in collaboration with Van Masters. Gifted to Diesel on his birthday in 2015. Gibson designed it specifically for Diesel's production company, One Race Films. He posted a video before giving it, speaking about what he admired in his friend. Not the action star, not the box office record holder, but the family man. The van was built around the idea of Diesel as a producer, a father, a person whose life happened in the spaces between filming. It has a custom interior, production facilities, and the kind of specification that reflects the person it was built for. It is the only vehicle in his collection that has nothing to do with racing, muscle, or performance. And in its own way, it is the most revealing car he owns. What the collection actually tells us. Vin Diesel's personal garage is not what the internet assumes it to be. It does not contain the Hero Charger from the first film. It does not contain a Lykan Hypersport. It does not contain a Toyota Supra. That car belonged to Paul Walker and was auctioned after his death for $550,000 to a buyer who understood what they were acquiring. What it contains is a focused, authentic collection of American muscle, vehicles chosen because he loved them, built for him by people who loved him, and occasionally driven on screen because the line between the man and the character had become impossible to draw cleanly. Fast and Furious did not give Vin Diesel his taste in cars. His taste in cars gave Fast and Furious its soul. And somewhere in the gap between those two things, between the museum car and the birthday charger, between the screen icon and the man speaking to his lost friend, is the truest story of what his collection actually represents. An entire generation fell in love with cars because of those films. The man who made that happen had already loved them long before the camera started rolling. Subscribe to Drive Directive and tell us in the comments, which car from Vin Diesel's real collection surprised you the most?